A holiday special on this Inconsistent Guys channel? Yeah, next you're gonna tell me that Vesperia on the PS3 is getting a worldwide release on every modern console. Pfft. Happy Halloween, everyone! It's the most wonderful time of the year, right? I love this holiday, the candy, the spooky atmosphere, and fun that comes with it. There are many interesting takes on what this holiday means, but I personally think of it as just a time to have fun. Is that allowed? I'm not really a fan of demons and all that crap that could get this channel demonetized. As a holiday focused around all things scary, evil, and whatnot, I thought it'd be fun to talk about the personification of those things in our video games. Limited inventories, water levels, villains. What? Those other ones were valid, don't lie. I absolutely adore villains. A great hero is, well, great, and of course we want them to succeed. But a lot of the time I find myself intrigued on the opposite end of the spectrum, whether that be for them being interesting, entertaining, or so evil that you can't help but get charmed by it. Regardless of the reason, we're celebrating the characters that made being bad feel so good. Of course, this is just my opinion in case I need to make that clear, so if you have your own favorites, feel free to list those in the comments section, and we can discuss them if you want. Not much in terms of rules here, but you do have to be considered a villain and not primarily an antagonist. I just have to be able to justify them being primarily evil rather than having opposing views in the protagonists, and they can be up here. Also, no anti-heroes. I want to talk about the bad boys, not emo boys. They can have their own list another time. When is another time? I have no freaking idea, don't get ahead of yourself. Oh, by the way, and I think this goes without saying, but there are lots and lots and lots of spoilers here. I'll be sure to put up a warning before each segment for the spoiler-heavy villains, which are a lot of these guys. Okay, all of them, so no need to fear. I just thought I'd let you all know in advance, but I think that's enough explaining, and if not, too bad. These are my top 5 favorite villains in gaming. Since we're only doing 5, that means we're getting right down to the nitty-gritty. No fluffing up this list with villains I think are just good, only the ones that are awesome, and that's pretty exciting, oh my gosh! So what kind of character are we starting off with? Some Lord of Darkness, a mad scientist, an evil king? How about a little girl that can switch genders at will and bend the very fabric of reality? Because video games, right? Gunvolt 2 really surprised me with how much I was into the story. The first game had me invested enough, but nothing more than slightly above average for a 2D platformer. However, on top of everything else, the story was such an improvement in this sequel thanks to the even better characterization with both our heroes and villains. Zonda takes the role of main baddie this time around, and she does a phenomenal job at being incredibly entertaining, interesting, and pure evil. The 3 biggest factors I look for when it comes to a great villain. In the first game, you know, she was aight, but you don't even get to fight her because Copen takes her down for you. She's on the stage select menu and he takes away her boss fight from you. Like, God, man, that's kinda rude. This time around, you really get to see her to her fullest potential, and it's some great stuff. She immediately beats out the first game's villain Nova because due to him being some sort of mysterious bad guy, ooh, you don't get to see him do much of anything until that final battle. Here though, not only do we get a taste from the first game, but she executes her plan over the course of the entire story so we can get a better idea of who she is. Because of this, I know that Zonda loves to play with her victims but gets stuff done when she's serious. Not only that, but her plan's a more thought out and screwed up version of Nova's, using Joel's power to make a better world for all adepts, or the people of this world with powers, if you didn't know what that meant and ignored my spoiler warning. Only she's going about this by committing genocide on all humans, so yikes, that ain't gonna fly. It always kept me on the edge of my seat because really, Zonda had Gunvolt and Copen in the palm of her hand from the very start. In the first level, she shatters Joel into pieces, limiting her power and giving it to her lackeys. Gunvolt and Copen then go retrieve all the shards, but when you finally catch up to her, she just takes them all back, fusing with Joel and killing the poor girl in the process. She has all these minions brainwashed and willingly throwing away their lives by trying to fight the protagonists in order to reach their perfect world that Zonda promised them. And the whole time, while Zonda is the reason for so many people getting killed, she has the calmest composure, never batting an eye and having everything go according to plan. It's so creepy, dude. I always feel uneasy hearing her theme play while she's preaching nonsense to her minions, and whenever you see her cutesy design with that childlike voice talking about world domination and mass murder, you kinda get the chills but can't help but respect her villainy. Because despite being so evil, I love her design. I love that she has so much fun doing so much bad. I love how by the final boss, she's basically done with her plan. All she needs to do is kill you and the world is as good as hers. Not only does her being the main villain feel right thanks to the first glance we got from her in the first game, game along with the massive build-up over the second, but she legitimately intimidates me as she should. Her powers are so cool, basically being able to create illusions of whatever she wants, whether that being reviving her strongest henchmen, making copies of herself, so on and so forth. Sana just seems to check all the boxes on the villain wish list, huh? I've been gushing about her for a while, but it's for good reason. Even though she's the villain of a Mega Man spiritual successor, she does her job way better than she has any right to, and that's perfectly fine by me. She made me want to put her in her place like nobody's business, but I loved every minute of it. GG, girl. Also, yes, the game officially says that she's she, so don't hate. I know my stuff. Mostly. A murderous, sociopathic little girl is one way to start this list, huh? Why don't we crank it down a few notches, because I'm not trying to scare away my viewers.
Seriously, please don't go. I need your views and support. Thank you.
After all, what's the next worst thing after murdering hundreds for your own psycho beliefs? Math, of course! The World Ends With You was a game I was already super into during the first week, but I think I speak for many when I say that week 2 was when the game really picked up in every way imaginable. The mystery of how Neku died, best boy Joshua finally making the scene, not to mention looking good while doing it, and our new game master was leagues better than the first, because your boy Sho Minamoto was awesome right from the start. To be fair, most of the game's villains are really good, but come on, you just can't top this guy. First scene you see him, okay, technically not the first scene because he's with a bunch of other super mysterious villains, but the real first scene you see him, you get every reason you should love this guy already. He's sitting on top of a pile of trash he calls art, and I mean, same. You get a perfect view of that sick as heck design, you hear that amazing catchphrase on top of all his weird math lingo, and he yells at you with a megaphone. Where was this guy when I took algebra? Twice. 3 times. 4 times. Already he's just oozing with so much personality and gets me to smile the whole time. And the entertainment factor, this guy just nails it without question. And it's what I believe to be the main reason so many people love him. Which makes sense. He's so fun in every single scene, and whenever he shows up, I immediately smile because I'm gonna have a good time. But if he was just funny, he wouldn't be in my top 5. It goes much deeper than that, and I'm glad the game does this to make him even more interesting and threatening. Let's talk about the latter first. This guy gets so much done in the second week. At first, it seems like he's doing his own thing, and literally everyone's wondering, what's this guy doing? For days, he doesn't give out any missions, so the players in his game that he's supposed to try and kill just do their own thing. That's when you start to piece together what exactly he's doing, cooking up some taboo noise to just wipe out everyone. Day 6 was when everyone started dropping like flies, both friends and foes alike, and when I started to think, oh snap, this guy's actually a threat. It took him a while, but soon enough, it's shown that Sho isn't anyone to mess around with, wiping out every single player except for Neku and Joshua, and even then, he could have taken them out, and almost did, but saved them so that he could kill them on his own. I mean, okay, Sho, I see you! But alright, he made a bunch of powerful creatures to kill everyone. He didn't really do that himself. That could be used against him, I can see that. However, I only see that strengthening him because taboo noise are wild creatures that'll attack anyone. Sho is so strong that not only can he control them, but he's seen using their powers to make himself stronger. And even when you finally defeat him, he brings himself back part taboo, which just makes him even freaking better. Like, what? This guy doesn't mess around, and I love that about him. On top of being one of the most quotable dudes ever, he's so determined to get what he wants done while eliminating anyone in his way. What exactly is it that he's trying to get done? Take down the composer of Shibuya, a sort of god in this world for lack of a better word. And that's where the interesting aspect comes in. Through the secret reports, it's revealed that Sho is getting help from a traitor in the Reapers to take the composer down in order to stop Shibuya from getting destroyed. It's very interesting to see that he's a bad person, but he is also doing what he can to save the city he loves. He goes so off the wall and out of line that he gets incredibly powerful enough to match the composer's powers, but it's that wild personality and loose cannon attitude that leads to his eventual downfall. Sho just really embodies what I love in a villain. He's such a meme, really menacing all things considered, and has such an interesting story in terms of what he stands for, his motivations, so on and so forth, making him an easy pick for the top 5. If math were this fun, I'd probably like the subject a lot more, but, you know, it's not, so I don't. Wishful thinking, though. Okay, seriously, don't spoil this one for yourselves if you're even slightly interested in Danganronpa. I'm about to talk spoilers for the whole freaking series, so skip this if you're gonna play these games. I won't get my feelings hurt, mostly. Instead, follow me on Twitter, @ZaffreRevo. It's a much better use of your time. Danganronpa, it's been too long! I haven't talked about these games in a while, but don't worry, I still love these games all this time later. One of the biggest reasons for that is due to the sheer amount of excellent characters. Every game has such a large cast, but the characters that fill that cast still manage to have as much depth as a protagonist would. Well, most of the time, because there's always that one hiccup. But don't let that detract too much much from the quality factor of these casts. I mean, nothing's perfect, unless you're a V3's plot, in which case I guess you're the exception. I'm kidding, of course. I know the story isn't perfect either, but honestly, it's probably my favorite complete story out of any game I've ever played. I loved it from the very start all the way to what I still believe to be the perfect ending. And this is a video about villains, so oh yeah, you know what I'm about to say. You ready for this scorching hot take? I love Tsumugi. She is such a fantastic mastermind and villain. Tsumugi is so well written for all the right reasons in my eyes. She's the result of the writers realizing everything wrong with Junko and managing to make that into a leagues better villain. Tsumugi takes a steaming hot dump on Junko. Whew! Okay, I think I met my controversial statements quota for the past 4 years on YouTube. Tsumugi is such an interesting concept for a character. I loved her from the start as I was obsessed with her fantastic design, her talent was a unique one, and although she wasn't too helpful in the trials, she was just a fun and likable character to be around, and that's okay every now and then. Of course, Danganronpa isn't known for its flat character, so I expected some sort of twist on her eventually, but not even I thought that would be making her the villain of the entire game. I mean, man, she definitely got me on shock value, but putting aside the twist of her being the big bad out of the way, on her own, she still manages to fit the bill more than enough for me. Her talent really comes out to light when her identity is out in the open as the mastermind, being that she can completely embody any and every fictional character. She's a borderline shapeshifter, and I just find that so fun. I mean, Junko was funny already, being that she kept switching personalities due to getting bored of a single one, but Tsumugi is constantly switching personas. That's actually amazing. I also just find the idea and execution of her character so interesting and unique. Danganronpa is revealed to be a big show that throws real people in to kill each other. Tsumugi is a writer of the show and has become obsessed with making it constantly entertaining and never ending. She wrote herself in as the mastermind and made it so that there was seemingly no way for the cast to truly win. She just wants the game to keep going and going with no regards for the relationships the cast thought they had formed with her. In fact, the only way to defeat her is by sacrificing themselves so that the world would have such an unsatisfying ending that they get bored of the show and leave. And without Danganronpa, Tsumugi has no point to living, which is really sad, but just goes to show how much she's lost it since becoming so addicted to the show. It's so easy to hate her for that. She doesn't give a single crap about anyone in the show and only wants people to kill each other for entertainment's sake. But I mean, that's exactly what makes her a great villain. The writers wanted her to be a very controversial character. You're supposed to hate her. Kinda ironic that I'm a really big fan of her, but you know, I digress. On top of all of that, what makes her my choice instead of Junko is that she's flawed. Junko's entire character was that she's perfect. She kept coming up with the perfect plan that went exactly how she wanted, and she was only defeated because she felt like getting killed. That's stupid. When you give me a character that literally has no weakness, that bores me. Tsumugi, on the other hand, is anything but perfect. She freaks out as soon as the characters start going off script and gets closer to the conclusion of sacrificing themselves. Also, she can barely think for herself and literally gives up when the viewers start to leave since her life is too heavily reliant on Danganronpa as a franchise. With all this in mind, Tsumugi is a character I just love to hate for the shock value, entertainment, pure malice she exuded, and interesting character she had overall. As a whole, she was a fantastic idea for a character and perfect mastermind, not only for V3 but the franchise in its entirety. Tsumugi gets such a bad rep, but I love her to death. No shame. And even though that's controversial, hey, we can all agree Nagito's pretty great, right? Oh, come on! Alright, listen, I'm a countdown maker talking about video game villains. I try to avoid countdown cliches as much as I can because I'm a sensitive soul who doesn't want a commentary made on him, but come on, you know I can't help but love Hades from Kid Icarus Uprising. This game is one of my all-time favorites for a multitude of reasons, but one of the biggest is due to the fantastic, meme-worthy, non-stop comical writing. Everyone is so witty and bounce off each other so well, it's honestly incredible. But guys, as soon as he freaking rips the credits apart and says, LOL, this game ain't over yet, he stole the show and never gave it up. Hades, Lord of the Underworld, is ridiculous. Let's get the easy one out of the way. This guy is absolutely hilarious. Line after line, quip after quip, roast after roast, the delivery, the expressiveness, everything. He's always poking fun at every scenario, be it lighthearted or serious, and he relishes in making fun of the cast. Poor kid's getting bullied and we all laugh at it. I can't emphasize enough how many great lines he has in this game, but like Show, I'll set that aside, as much as I don't want to. Hades reaches number 2 for more than just his entertainment value. No, he's got to hit all 3 categories of a Gucci villain. Hades interests me for the fact that he's been pulling the strings for Uprising the whole time, but doesn't wait until the end of the game to come out. He revived Medusa along with all the Underworld commanders to do his dirty work for the first 9 chapters, but when you take her down, he finally decides to get his hand dirty and he ain't messing around. As a first move, he He sparks a war with what boils down to a rumor, not only shaving down the amount of people, but ruining the land they fight on. This starts up so much chaos that it pisses off best girl Verity, so she comes in with her own army, killing even more people, with goons of her own and freaking nukes, which in turn causes the Aurum, the alien species, to come and destroy even more, as if, you know, that weren't happening enough. Then he turns Pitt into a ring for 3 years while the world is getting more screwed over thanks to a possessed Palutena, while sitting back and laughing as Pitt has to fight her. After all that, he then goes on to destroy the very weapon meant to kill him, and after a fierce battle that should have killed him like 4 times, finally gets defeated. I mean, my lord, this guy causes a chain reaction of wars, deaths, and destruction simply because he loves those very things and it grows his army. His very existence is just based on the enjoyment of watching humans squirm, and I love how that amounts to him embodying the concept of villainy. And while his motives are very simple, his character as a whole has so many layers to make up for it. I love that when the other characters brush him off or joke him back, he gets annoyed with them, showing that he's not the perfect D-bag he wants to let on. Not to mention, he's a pretty scary guy when you get down to it and just refuses to die, and the fact that he's such an evil mastermind that relishes in the destruction of others makes him both incredibly entertaining and interesting on top of, you know, clearly being evil. Hades is much simpler than the other entries you've seen thus far, and that might make you ask why he's up here. Well, I don't think you have to be the most complex villain in the world to be my favorite. You just gotta nail the 3 categories enough to make me like you, and Hades does just that while not having to bend the story backwards. Nothing wrong with doing that because these are my top 5 favorites after all, but I think that just strengthens Hades as a villain even more. He's not complicated because he doesn't have to be, and that in of itself not only makes him better and interesting on top of the other 2 categories, but a villain I didn't think could be topped for the longest time. That only begs the question, just who did manage to top him? Well... Alright peeps, just who could my favorite villain be? Why, it could be anyone. Is it Dr. Eggman? Fawful? Yggdrasil? Xehanort? Egil? Is this my dumb way of including honorable mentions in the video? You betcha! But no, it's none of those, because mine, without a doubt, would have to be the murderer from Persona 4 Golden. Don't worry, I'm not showing them yet, because I want to give those who haven't played this game yet time to get out. This is my #1 choice, so if you don't want this spoiled, I guess the video is over for you, so thank you for watching, and go play Persona 4 Golden, or Persona 4, they're both great. Anyway, I'll give you 3 seconds to go, because don't spoil this one. Are they gone? Alright, cool. Persona 4 Golden was a game that strung me along for many reasons, but one of the biggest was the excellent murder mystery. The more I replay the game, the more I love how expertly woven together it is, and it gets better every single time when it's revealed that the true culprit after 2 fake-outs was Adachi of all people. The bumbling detective partner to your uncle? The lazy bum who just wants to take it easy? This face? A killer? Like a great mystery, you never see it coming, and the twist is absolutely fantastic. And that's thanks to his efficiency and how good he is at hiding who he truly is. To put it bluntly, Adachi is an evil genius, putting on the bumbling amateur persona right from the first time you see him. He's throwing up at the sight of a bloody corpse, which he caused by the way, and you never bat an eye because, oh, Adachi. The entire game, you never suspect him because not only is he supposedly on the case, but he's always quote-unquote accidentally pointing you in the right direction of the culprit when in reality he's just throwing you off the trail. Again, never once feel suspicious because, oh, Adachi. The chase was a crazy one, but it feels so good to finally get that revelation that yes, Adachi is in fact the true culprit of this case. So shock value's there. What else does he have to offer? A lot, actually. When you see his true color, oh my gosh! Okay, now that's the face of a killer. My oh, get off my screen, what the? Anyway, when you see his true colors and he goes on to needlessly explain how he got away with everything, I'm always so shocked by how freaking malicious he is. He's a sadistic jerkwad who manipulates others for his own enjoyment due to being bored out of his mind in the small town of Inaba. He was attracted to the announcer, but she went off with someone else, so he kills her. He almost sexually assaults a high school girl and gets rightfully rejected, so he kills her too. And when Namatame nearly goes insane over all these people dying wanting to do something about it, Adachi manipulates him into thinking throwing people into the TV will save them when in reality it causes the poor guy to almost kill a bunch of our favorite characters. The ultimate mastermind, and just like he says, he does it because he could. In his mind, because he's not the best of the best, the world screwed him over far too much and he's become a joke in the police force. Reality doesn't favor him in the slightest, so he says screw it. If he can be happy, might as well make the most of what he's got left at the expense of everyone else. Who cares if the world world's destroyed. Who cares if people die? He's having fun and he hasn't been able to say that in years, so oh well. It's a wild journey to see a guy come to this, though it isn't completely unrealistic. In a sick sort of way, I see where he's coming from. In fact, he's very similar to you, the main character. You're both people who've unfortunately been sent to a small town that could be incredibly boring, but the difference is you took the effort to make life interesting by making friends and doing your best to help others while making yourself a better person. Adachi uses people, succumbs to the stagnancy that a small town could potentially be, and just doesn't care enough to make himself better, but worse because that's the most immediately entertaining option. Adachi has such an interesting character arc. He's a very layered villain in character. He parallels the protagonist so expertly well. He's evil, entertaining, interesting, fun to chase down, shocking, everything. To me, Adachi is just the perfect villain, which is why he's my favorite in all of gaming. The scariest part, if you had chosen just a slightly different path, he could have ended up just like Adachi. And that's pretty freaking wild. Happy Halloween, guys, again. And thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you had as much fun watching it as I did making it. This was my first holiday special, so I'm hoping to keep up the consistency and do more of these in the future. I don't really do these post-video talks, but I wanted to talk to you guys a bit on my own and say, please follow me on Twitter at ZaffreRevo. It's a great way for more updates and hearing my opinions on random stuff, plus it's a fun way to interact with you all more. Speaking of that, I also have a Discord server, which is another great way to talk to myself and many of my other friends and viewers. It's been getting really lively lately, which is very, very exciting, so come on down and hang. Both links are in the description as per usual. I think that's about all I have to say though. I just wanted to thank you all once again for watching my stuff. I really appreciate you all. This YouTube life, man, it's so fun. My next video is my top 10 favorite Tales games, and I am so excited for that. And I hope you guys are excited for it too. Anyway, I'll see you guys then. I love you all, and if you think that's weird, too bad. Bye-bye.